if you took this trade from last week, let's see what would happen. So if you moved your stop loss to a stop profit and you got the exact same entry as me, then that would have gotten hit. So that's never good, but at least you wouldn't have lost anything because you'd have the stop profit. But if you had the original stop loss, then you'd still be in profit by 13, 14 pips. And then if we go over to this trend line that I'm talking about, I've already marked it up on the chart here. We see, oops, it up. We see quite a few hits on this. This is a piercing trend line because it goes through the chart. I'm just going to mark a couple points that I want to point out. So these three here, they're all different types of hits, which is why I have those 3 points there. The first one we see, this is a very normal hit, the most average kind of hit. This is where you use the wicks for the trend line. What's kind of funny is both of these wicks, they're not the same height. It just so happens to work perfectly with this trend line. We also see this one happen as well with using the line as a support rather than a resistance. Just a quick refresher, if you're not familiar with support and resistance, basically resistance is resistance to go up, meaning a ceiling, and then support is like a floor, support from going down, so it's the bottom. So this would be a support, and this one would be resistance. Over here on this first one, we see the bodies of these candles were on the line. In particular, the one I was trying to highlight was the green one. Move this. This green candle here, it's a type of a doji. If you're not familiar with that exact kind of doji, that would be a hammer doji. The exact kind doesn't matter so much. This one would also work as well. And all that is just it's on the trend line. That gives a little bit of confirmation that it's a relevant trend line as well, a piercing trend line. And then lastly, I want to talk about this one. Again, this green one here. We see the bodies of a respectable enough time frame. This is the 1 hour finished on the line as well. And so because we see all these confirmations, all these things lining up so well on this trend line, this one matters quite a lot. And if we zoom up to more modern data, we can see another wick hit from a very strong candle. That is a dragonfly, opposite of a hammer. And it has a very long wick that was the lowest wick for quite a lot of candles before it on the same time frame. And then we see further, this one's close here. That one's not perfect, but it's close though. And then that one's also counts as well. And then just recently, just the last couple of candles, we see that they were finishing their wicks on the line as well. And what else we notice is there is some type of doji here as well. This is the Japanese trading style. Again, if we were checking this red one here, which is the lowest one, there's some things I really like about this one, some things I don't like so much. One thing pretty obvious that I do not like about this one, I don't know why I did that, is the bottom of the wick. Not that many candles ago, it was broken. However, if you put a line there, let me get rid of this. Just keep in mind we're talking about that one. I want to get rid of it so you can see this better though. I use a horizontal line. And we want to use blue PRP. Look what just happened. On this line, we see a nice hit there. On the same line, we see it there as well. So because this was the low and now we're seeing upward movement, maybe even right now might not be such a bad time to get into this trade. Also, we're on an overall uptrend. Again, supporting our the buying of this pair. So I just want to know if anyone did anyone take the AU from last week? Go ahead and say in the chat if you did. You want to take that trade from last week? Valeria did. Perfect. I did stop and break even. Got a bag of chips. Very nice. Yeah. So Bird got out because of the break even. Valeria, are you still using the original stop loss, or did you get out, or did you get out somewhere else? Did you get out at even or positive or still in profit? Okay, very nice. So what we're seeing now is maybe just a delayed reaction from this one because it's the same trend line. That's the reason why we got in before, is the same exact trend line. So now we're seeing another hit. It appears to be respecting it with the other doji right next to it as well. We see that this is also very nice. Again, really important. One thing I do like about these dojis as well, the bottom wick distance to the body, 5.3. The top wick, only 4.1. So because of that, we know that the bottom one is a little bit longer. That's good. That's what we want to see. And then we also see this one's even nicer of a doji. It's just not lower, which is why we're looking at the other one instead. So this is all confirmations, some confirmations at least, that it could be going up from here. So this trade seems like everyone already got out, either in profit, stop profit, something of that nature. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete this one. And let's see if we can make a new one pretty similar to this one. You know, I think it would be stronger if it would just take off from here. Maybe only going down very little bit. So I would say the entry would even be as high as here. Very soon, relative to where it is right now. Around there. And the reason why is because look at all in here. There's all this all sideways movement of the price. And we don't see a lot of movement in there. That means that price likes this area a lot. So we should be able to get in at least here. That's pretty much where price is now anyways. I like to get in just a little bit better. It makes me feel better about the trade rather than, because that way you're setting up, it's still somewhat of a trap for price rather than chasing the market, because you never want to chase the market. Never want to chase price. Okay, we already started. I didn't delete that already. So I don't know why I grabbed that. So we see at least two confirmations. We see the line, the diagonal line, and we also see the same bottom positions on two different dojis, here and here. So what we could expect to see happen is either we could use the strategies of small and large W's. If you know me, you know my trading style. That's not my trading style. I don't really like them that much. But we could use that for an initial takeout. So right there could be our first take profit. I don't think it'll stop there. I'd be pretty surprised if it did, but a lot of people like to have closer take profits because they get impatient. So if you're an impatient person, you can have that one. It's only 48 pips away as your first take profit. I'm not going to put my take profit there because I do not think it's going to stop there. It is a PRP. I strongly think it'll break through that if it does decide to go up instead. So instead of having it there, I would have it at the same spot as our old take profit. I don't know, I couldn't think of that word. So before we thought that price might come into this box here with that with the X being formed there from the Fibonacci channel, as well as the trend. So first of all, let's clean up our chart a little bit, and let's see if we can get a little better view on the market. So this is an important lesson, actually, how to clean up your charts. This is something I recommend everyone practices. Good chart cleanup skills, very important. So for our new entry here, we don't have a stop loss down here. Let's go ahead and delete that. I don't know why that came up. And we're just gonna get rid of everything that's not important. So we do see this very strong level here. Again, if you want a really tight stop loss, you can even have it as tight as there, because that would have to break 2 different PRPs in order to hit this level. Actually, let's do 3, because there's one right there as well. So in order to hit this level here, it would have to have some significant downward movements. So this stop loss is only 20 pips away. That's pretty tight, but I do think that that one is reasonable in this scenario that we're in right now. That does seem like an I'm not saying this is likely to even work. I could definitely see it going down farther, but if you don't care about your win loss and you actually care about making money in the field, then and you're using proper risk management, use this as your stop loss. If you're over leveraging, do not use this as your stop loss. That would be a very bad idea. If you are over leveraging, you shouldn't be trading at all. But if you are, then have your I was to put your stop lower, but that wouldn't even make any sense anyways. People always, I'm gonna put a little dot right there. Okay, so right, we're still cleaning up our chart. Let's go ahead and finish this. And we don't need this one anymore. We don't need this fib, nor do we need this fib, nor do we need this, nor this one. We do want these here. Let's just have it bare bones, just what we need. And then let's go ahead and pull up. What am I looking for? I'm blanking where it is. There it is, regression trend. Oh wait, no, not the, wait. Was it the regression? I'm forgetting what the other one was called that I'm looking for. Okay, we can use the parallel channel. That's what it was. Okay, so with the parallel channel tool, this is a really nice tool. So basically, I'm going to replace this trend line that we have here with this, and then we want this here. Now, this is kind of ugly. I don't personally like the purple. So let's go ahead and go into the settings, and I'll show you how to customize it a little bit more. So some things I like to do is I don't usually like to have the background. I think it can be distracting. Also, it looks like I need to adjust it a little bit. I also want to extend right so that it just goes on forever to the right. It doesn't matter to the left because that's just behind and who cares about that. Let's not have that one. I do like to have the middle line as well, the dotted, usually with a different line. Let's go ahead and use, not green, I don't like that. Let's use purple and maybe like the brown. No, that looks really bad. Does anyone have any color preferences? I'm trying to see what looks good for this because I haven't done my settings on this account yet. I have several TradingView accounts, by the way. This is the one I use for these sessions. I think that looks all right. So let's adjust this a little bit more. We're going to go ahead and zoom in to have our regression, the parallel channel a little bit better. I can't see this one. Let's zoom in on this. I'm going to go ahead and delete this circle here so that we can put it exactly on. Okay, didn't even delete. How's that? That's perfect. Okay. So we got those 2 points, good. And then this one, I want it like that. Perfect. I'm using this top here, this bottom, and this bottom as well. It's the same thing as this trend line. So now we're going to delete that one because the regression trend line, I keep saying that, the regression trend line. This horizontal, what was it called? Parallel channel. The parallel channel tool is a lot better than the normal trend lines. So what we're looking for is we want to see at least the 0.5 hit from here in this channel. And this might be one of the rare cases where you want to extend left. If you want to, that's absolutely fine. Just to prove to yourself that this does work out. Yes, the parallel channel, exactly. And I think that overall, this is looking like a pretty good trade. Let's see what else we can use to have more confirmations for this trade. We could use pitchforks and things like that. They're similar to this channel, but instead, let's go ahead and use just the normal fibs, because I already know. Oh, actually, fibs are something I want to talk about because they, I really need to delete this line. So one thing I wanted to note about the fibs, after the fibs, can you show us? Yeah, we can go over pitchforks after. So when you're pulling up your settings for your fibs, I'm just off today. For your fibs, generally you only want a couple of them that are actually important. Some that they don't naturally include that are helpful is the 236 extension as well. And then what else do you want? You also want the, what is it? Oh yeah, the 886. That's a good one too. 886. So when that just generally helps with shorter term trades, and also when you do your future fibs, the 886 is really helpful in that scenario. And we can go over that probably in tomorrow's session. I don't think we're going to cover it today, but that's something to look forward to for tomorrow. So overall, on the medium term, I guess, because it wouldn't be long term, because the long term would be down here. We don't see a ton. We do see that the 382 level is approximately where our price is right now, but it's not the bounce. So that's only kind of helpful. It's not that helpful at all. If we bring it down to the bottom here, well, then we see that very recently there is a bounce off of the 618 right here. Now the 618 is backwards. That's actually the 382. But that's a really nice clean hit there. These aren't perfect, so if I adjust this, it should be better. Yeah, now it's a little more of a clean hit. And one thing you'll notice with that hit right there is it's really close to the cross of where the channel or the trend line, same thing, meets with the Fibonacci's. And that's how you can know not only what price level, but also when to expect a trade. And let me show you how you can incorporate that into your actual trading style in a realistic way to help you make money. So when you grab the trend line tool, the normal trend line tool has to be the normal one. What you could do is when you see a a cross happening between two important levels, you can make just a very small trend line like this, and you're like, how is that even helpful? That's stupid. That's not a trend line. But if you click on it, you go to add alert. Well, now you can have an alert that is only for that diagonal position at not only that price level, at that particular time as well. Because if that hits, that's really important. So you can even say something like, in all caps, you can say, check AU now, you know, for the buy, and then you can say fib and trend line hit, and you say long-term trend line hit. Whatever, you get the idea. And then just to reiterate, if you have the free account, you can only have one of the, I'm gonna go ahead and mute this person. You can only have one alert on at a time. And so I'd have to delete my UCAD one in order to put this one on, because on this account, I only have the free version. On my other accounts, I have more. But with this, you can send the email. So the email is the only free option. So if you have email alerts on your phone, that's really helpful. There is an app as well. I've heard mixed reviews for the app. I'm not going to say it's a good app, nor am I going to say it's a bad app. But that one is called Call Levels. It's on the App Store. It's for Android and also for iOS. I don't usually use it just because I do have the premium account with my other TradingView. So that was just an example of how you actually use a very small trend line. And one last thing I like to do. When you're adding an alert for one of these small ones, you can see the day after that it finishes. So for this one, the end is on the 23rd, and the next day is after the weekend on the 25th. So what you can do is you can say expiration time on the 25th, so that it automatically deletes itself on that day, because then it's no longer relevant anyways. So yeah, let's go ahead and go over Pitchforks. I think that there's one here. I know that Bird found one that was pretty good on AU before. I think it was like this, if I remember correctly. I think that's how it was. Yeah, so shout out to Bird. Yeah, so is this shift or is this modified shift? This is shift, yeah. So this is the shift one. And we did see a lot of hits. It's very similar to our parallel channel as well. And if we go on the 4 hour, actually check this, so that's why I know this works. We see, oh, this is actually really key too. If you ever find yourself accidentally moving something that's pretty important, like a Fibonacci channel, you could try to move it or whatever. What I usually do is I put it at an extreme point where it obviously doesn't go, like over there, and then you just Control Z so you know if it moves. So on the 4 hour, we see that it has not broken the shift pitchfork. So Trav was asking how you draw a pitchfork. Well, all you have to do is you start at the bottom, or not necessarily the bottom, the lowest time frame, or sorry, the farthest back, the earliest time frame position you want to put it at. So here I put it at the absolute low. There's nothing below that one for a very, very long time before, for many years before, I think. So I put the bottom there. And then for the top, I used this position and this one. Bird found this one before I did. And The reason why this is such good positioning at these points is because these candles that are in between these 2 points are very, very consistent. There's not a whole lot of wobbling like there is from this doji, the top here, to this down here as well. This has quite a lot of upward and downward movement, so it's not something you necessarily want to have as a pitchfork. It would be less powerful, at least. Yeah, 3-4. Yeah, we can go over Elliott waves as well. So yeah, actually, let's do that. So another thing, you guys know who have been on my sessions a long time, you know how much I love these things. This might even end up as a Jesus cross. That's a definite entry at that point. There's still an hour and 5 minutes left in the day, also in the 4 hour. So I'm going to wait another hour and 5 minutes or so before rechecking this chart and making sure it actually is going to finish like that. I do not recommend jumping the gun, entering now necessarily. You can probably get a little better entry than this orange line, honestly. I kind of just threw that out there as an approximate entry. So with that being said, let's go ahead and go over the Elliott impulse waves. So with the Elliott impulse waves, that's under this one. Let me see. You want this one that says 1 and 5 on it. Also says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And usually you have these either as a full movement. So you want your 0 or your starting value at the absolute low or absolute high of preferably longer term. So right now we're on the 4 hour chart. The 4 hour chart is an okay time frame. It does get a little confusing. Do you put your 1 here or do you put your 1 here? It's some of it also, by the way, look at that perfect 88.6 hit. That's also interesting. That's how you would use the 88.6 to actually get this further up point as this 0.3 here as oh geez, the 0.3 as a future fib in order to get that one. Bert, is this how you have yours drawn up? Yeah, I am recording this session. I'll post it to my YouTube channel later on. Maybe tomorrow morning, maybe tonight. It takes a long time for it to render because I record. It's not. I kind of just drew it up really quickly. I'm not sure. Bird, do you want to go over how you drew up your Elliott impulse wave? Sure. Yeah, that would work.
Okay. Hopefully I have a good connection because my Wi-Fi is down, so I'm using my phone as a hotspot.
Sure. Let me see. You're a little quiet for me. My volume might just be really low though.
Okay.
Can everyone hear Bird?
You guys hear me? Give me like a yes or.
Yeah, he's good.
Okay, good. Perfect.
All right. So this is so I usually try to start from a huge time frame just so I know where we are. So this is the weekly chart.
Wow.
We have a 1, 2, big 3, 4, 5, and then I think we're in an ABC now. So I just broke this one up, but this is the A, this is the B, and currently I'm hoping we're in a C that goes way up to like 0.8 for AUD.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, let's go to 4 hour. So the way that I drew my Elliott wave was this is like the origin. This was a 1, this was a 2, this was a 3, this was a 4, and then this is another 5. So I'm a little bit lost where we are now. I mean, this is the ABC down. So hopefully it's another impulse wave we got going within the really big C that will take months or years. So I've been trying to count it as it's been going. I haven't been on the chart in a minute, but this is where I have now. This is a triangle. So this could be just part of a 1 or its own 1 because it hasn't retraced completely. So this could be another 2 to 3. And if I draw a fib on it, we can see where we are right now. This is the very last wave. So a little bit past the 786. So, but it still is following the trend, which is a good thing because even you can see like from where this trend has been, even if you just traded nothing but the channel, you will still be up 70 pips. This was before we had the meeting, but you would be up 70 pips from 2 weeks ago just from doing nothing but trading channels that were made. So this is how I drew my my account for it.
Nice. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Go ahead and I'll reshare my screen. Let me pull up the chat again. Okay, cool. So so I like what Bird was saying as well. He has a different Elliott wave count than me. He had his 1 here, I believe, and 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a different way to bring it up. This is obviously, you can't do what I'm doing here. You can't have 1 and then 2 like that. That does not work. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete this for now. I have a good markup on my other chart, which I might be able to share later. I've for just a quick update for everyone that might be interested, I did file for a new company with an LLC with my business partner John recently. It's VVS Investments, and we're looking to do big things on the charts with that. I will keep you guys posted with that, but there might be specific opportunities for you attending this session later on in the future, for people that stay with Blue Cap, at least that stay at least on my YouTube. I'll keep you guys updated with that. So continuing off of this, we see a lot of movement towards the upside on AU. We saw the fib. One thing I want to go over on fibs that I always forget to do is, how is the 886 calculated? Why is that even relevant? I mean, we see that it worked out really well here. We saw the top at this point, and then we saw the total top. It works perfectly together. Easily could have used a future fib for that. So how do we calculate the 886? Does anyone already know? You can say no if you don't know too. No. Okay. So essentially, it's actually the exact same way that you calculate the 786. So everyone knows that have been on my sessions for a while that 618, that is the ratio. That's the golden ratio. It's the golden pocket. Fibonacci has a lot of names. That is the most powerful ratio. It's the best one. The most, if you can only pick one ratio to go off of, it's that one. And actually, almost all the other ratios, except for the 0.5, are all based off of the 618. So what I mean by that is, if you use the 618 to your calculator, you can follow along with me. I'll go on. Actually, hold on. I need to do screen. So if you get the calculator out. If you type in 0.618, whoops, 0.618, and you take the square root of that number, well, look at that, 0.786. Of course, it goes on longer, and this is not exact because 618 is not exact. That's just something to note. This is why 786 is relevant, because it's the square root of 618. So what happens if you take one more square root? Well, that's how you get the next one, 886 right there. That's how these levels are calculated, literally just square roots of the golden ratio. Just something kind of interesting that I noticed. Some people always are asking, why they're relevant, why do we use those numbers? Well, now you know. Also, 382 is just opposite of 618 from 1 minus that, and so on. So There's some other numbers as well that are relevant. I think you can also use the algo target. I don't have it on here. Wait. Oh, I guess it didn't reach the algo target. Never mind. Hasn't reached it yet. Never mind. Okay, so let's go ahead, and we've been on the same pair for 30 minutes. So let's go ahead and go on to GU. So what's happening with GU? So we bring out the extended trend line. You see there to there. That's really nice hits because we see a lot in a row. That's a big sign that this trend line should be relevant. And we also see very soon, oh wait, actually, this is just a stop loss, never mind. I was gonna say we have this this X coming up very soon, but I think this is just a stop loss. It's not relevant. I'm not sure why I even have this marked up. I don't remember if we had this from before or what. So let's go ahead and delete everything. Let's clean up our chart. Let's go ahead and actually, let's just delete everything, I think. Do we need anything on here? No. Let's go ahead and delete everything. Really, really clean, fresh chart. And then the only thing I want to remake is that recent, was that? Yeah. Okay. And let's actually be very specific. Let's use the magnet tool. All right. So we see that with this, there's potential for a new hit pretty soon. Let's see if it matches up with any fibs that we can draw. So going off of the absolute low to the recent top after that low, we can see that it actually bounced off of the 786 fairly recently. And now we actually do see a cross, a real cross. So again, what we can do is you can get the normal trend line and you turn off the magnet tool. That's key. And you just do a little in front of the cross. You go to alerts, you see what day is after that. So 27th, you could set your expiration to the 27th, and you can say GU, you know, look for buy, something like that. And then you can set the, have the email be sent to you as well for that. And that way you know when to look at the chart as well, which that would be pretty soon if it's going to happen at all. It would have to be in by the end of the day, essentially, to have a perfect hit. If it does have that perfect hit, we would want to see price go up a lot. But also because it's such an inflection point, we could also see price breaking hard. So we want to see one or two things happen when that time comes. We generally won't see price just kind of bounce off of it. That's very rare. It could happen, obviously, but it doesn't happen often with such a strong inflection point. We're looking for a big up or a big down. So what to do once it gets there is look on a little bit smaller time frame, and you can try to tell which direction the price is actually going from the actual break. And that way we can get the full movement potentially, if it's on the upside at least, for that trade. So with that being said, is there anything in particular anyone wants me to go over? We already went over the pitchforks, went over Fibonacci's, we went over how to calculate the Fibonacci numbers, alerts, a little bit of doji, those colorful diagonal zones. Oh, the I know what you're talking about. The fib channel. This one. Let's see. Maybe put it from. Oh wait, that's wrong. Is this what you're talking about? So I don't usually go over these in my sessions because this is more of an advanced method of trading. It's more something I usually go over in private sessions. I also marked it up wrong, so generally you want it slanted the other way, but we can go over it really quick, I guess. So basically what you're looking for when you're using these, maybe you want to do this one instead. You have to first be able to know how to do normal future fibs, and then use future fibs for determining price levels within the channels. And it works really well because you see the hit there, we see close to hit there, perfect hit there, close to hit here as well. Lots of hits at this level, and generally use it as a more advanced form of the normal trend line. But this is something that I don't generally go over in these sessions. So instead, let's go ahead and talk about another pair. And actually, let's look at the DXY. So what has happened? Wow, that's interesting. Our last session was on the 19th, I think, right, or 20th. I forgot exactly what day. So price was currently here in this zone, and we drew up the B, the C. All this was drawn before it actually even happened, I think. Maybe the B was already drawn. I'm not sure. That looks too perfect. But definitely the C was not drawn yet. Definitely these two zones were not. So this ended up working out pretty well. We see that C was a really clean hit off of the bodies. There was a wick that broke through, of course, but everything stayed in the PRZ, the price reversal zone that we made, completely, which is kind of cool because it even came back in and still could not break. So this actually, because it was able to reject price so many times at the same exact level, that was also at a strong level, we would want to see price continue up from here. And this is also pretty interesting. It's almost perfectly following our extension. And interesting too. So it did follow with the Elliott wave, and then also with the 0 ABC as well. So what do we want to see from here? Basically just continue to the zone that we already made from the last session. That should be in the last video on the YouTube channel. From current, that's only another 0.29, basically 0.3% till that point. So that, and I would expect that to happen in the middle of this. So that would be in about a day and a half from now. So we can look at this again tomorrow. I do have a feeling that it might just turn down from here, especially if we see that AU is going to go up. That would mean that DXY should go down generally. Of course, the Australian dollar can also just go up in value. But generally, we want to see this go down for that to happen. And I'm not sure if it's going to happen yet. It might hit that point. However, look where it's at right now. Golden zone, 618. So I might have been a little too aggressive with this trend line. The PRZ. So I'm going to duplicate this. I am placing this one as it's happening, so this one doesn't count that much. But we do see at least some resistance after hitting this level. We see that it did turn at least a little bit. And this is at 618. So it's very likely I could picture price just going down from here as well.